My name is Emily, and I've been married to my husband, Jacob, for 6 years. 6 long, complicated, beautiful, painful years. If someone had told me a month ago that Jacob was leading a life I knew nothing about, I would have laughed in their face. Because Jacob. He was steady, predictable, calm. He liked his routines and hated surprises. So when he came home one evening saying, we need a break. Let's take a trip. Just you and me. I booked everything already. I felt something inside me lift. Things between us had been strained lately. Cold meals, colder conversations, and a kind of distance that made our house feel like a museum. A trip sounded like exactly what we needed, but I didn't know the truth. I didn't know what he was really taking me away from. We left for a mountain resort 3 hours from our home. It was quiet, surrounded by pine trees and foggy mornings. Honestly, the kind of place where couples go to reconnect or murder mysteries begin. When we checked into the cabin, Jacob kissed my forehead gently. Too gently. It felt rehearsed, like he was trying too hard. Still, I brushed it off. I wanted this to work. I wanted us to work. The first evening, we sat outside with hot chocolate, listening to the wind rustling through the branches. Do you think this will help us? I asked quietly. Jacob didn't look at me. His eyes stayed locked on the fire. I hope so, he said. I'm trying, I really am. It should have comforted me, but something felt wrong. His voice trembled, not with emotion, but with fear, like he was hiding something. The next morning, I woke up to an empty bed. Jacob's suitcase was still there, but he was gone. I found him outside on the phone, whispering. When he saw me, he hung up so fast he almost dropped the phone. Who was that? I asked. Work, he snapped. Just work stuff. Let's not start the day with questions. He never spoke to me like that. Ever. My stomach twisted, but I stayed quiet. I told myself I was overthinking, that this trip was supposed to heal us, not tear us further apart. We spent the day hiking, talking about surface-level things, weather, food, memories from years ago. Jacob wasn't fully present. His smile didn't reach his eyes. And every time his phone buzzed, he grew tense. By evening, I started to admit to myself that something was deeply off. But nothing prepared me for what happened the next morning. Jacob had gone out to pick up breakfast from the resort's cafe. I stayed behind, sitting on the porch, letting the crisp air wake me up. When he returned, he handed me a small paper bag and a coffee. You really didn't have to go by yourself, I said, reaching into the bag. I didn't want to wake you, he replied quickly. That was when I noticed it, the corner of a folded note sticking out from under the pastries. A piece of paper that absolutely didn't belong there. What's that? I asked. Jacob froze. What's what? This, I said, pulling it out. He lunged forward like he wanted to grab it, but stopped himself halfway, forcing a smile instead. Probably the receipt. It wasn't a receipt. It wasn't even close. I opened the note, expecting maybe a thank you message from the cafe. Instead, I found a rushed, scribbled message in shaky handwriting. You don't know me, but you need to leave. Jacob isn't who you think he is. Don't trust him. Don't be alone with him. My blood turned to ice. I reread it 3, 4 times, feeling my pulse hammer against my ribs. My first instinct was to believe it was some kind of sick joke, but the handwriting, the urgency, the fact that Jacob looked like he was about to faint. What is this? I whispered. Jacob shook his head. Emily, please. It's nothing. Someone must have slipped it in at the cafe. Why? Why would a stranger write this about you? My voice cracked. His jaw clenched. I don't know. People are crazy, You can't take this seriously. But everything inside me screamed that he was lying. Jacob, I said slowly, look me in the eyes and tell me you don't know who wrote this. He hesitated. A tiny hesitation, less than a second, but enough to shatter everything inside me. I don't know, he said finally. But it was too late. The hesitation spoke louder than his denial. And for the first time in 6 years, I felt afraid of my own husband. I folded the note and slipped it into my pocket. He noticed, and his eyes flicked toward it with panic. I'm throwing it away later, I lied. He forced a smile that didn't fool me for a second. Good. Let's just forget it, okay? Let's enjoy the day. But I couldn't forget. And I couldn't shake the feeling that the stranger who wrote that note wasn't warning me about the future. They were warning me about something that had already happened. Later that afternoon, while Jacob showered, I pulled the note out again. I stared at the handwriting, my hands trembling. Something about the rush strokes, the uneven lines. It looked like someone writing in fear, someone desperate. And right next to the note, inside the same cafe bag, I found something else I hadn't noticed before. A small hotel room keycard. Not for our cabin. For a completely different building. And on the back of it, written in the same handwriting as the note, were 3 words. Check room 214. My heart nearly stopped. Before I could think, I heard the bathroom door click open. Jacob stepped out, towel around his waist, looking pale. Emily, what are you doing? I shoved the keycard behind my back. Nothing. Just thinking. He took a step closer. Thinking about what? I swallowed hard. Because in that moment, I knew the truth. There was something at this resort I wasn't supposed to find. Something someone wanted me to see. Something Jacob was terrified I might uncover. And room 214. Room 214 was waiting for me. And I was going to open that door, no matter what was behind it. When I finally reached room 214 and slid the key into the lock, I heard a familiar voice whisper my name from inside. The moment I heard my name whispered from inside room 214, every nerve in my body jolted awake. My hand froze on the door handle. For a second, I convinced myself it was my imagination, that the stress, the confusion, the fear were making me hear things. But then it came again. Softer, shakier. Emily? My blood turned cold. I pushed the door open just wide enough to slip inside. The room was dim, the curtains drawn tightly shut. The air felt heavy, like someone had been crying in it for hours. My eyes adjusted slowly, scanning the room. And then I saw her. A woman. Young, maybe mid-20s. Sitting on the edge of the bed, knees pulled to her chest, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Her clothes were rumpled, like she'd been sleeping in them or hadn't slept at all. But the thing that struck me most, she looked terrified. When her eyes landed on me, she gasped like she was seeing a ghost. You came, she whispered. My throat went dry. Who are you? She didn't answer at first. Instead, she looked toward the door, as if expecting Jacob to barge in any second. You shouldn't be here, she said. If he finds out you came alone. I cut her off. Did you write the note? She hesitated, then nodded. Everything inside me twisted. I stepped farther into the room, shutting the door behind me. The click echoed like a warning. Tell me what's going on, I demanded. Why did you write that? What does Jacob have to do with you? The woman wiped her eyes with trembling hands. My name is Chloe, she said quietly. And I didn't want to drag you into this. But I couldn't let him keep lying to you. A cold sweat prickled my skin. Lying about what? Her gaze softened, almost pitying. About us. That single word, us, hit me like a slap. I stepped back, shaking my head. No, you don't get to say that. You don't get to imply. I'm not implying, she whispered. Jacob and I, we've been together for almost a year. My world tilted. It felt like the furniture in the room swayed, like the carpet shifted beneath my feet. My heart slammed against my ribcage so hard it hurt. You're lying, I whispered. You're lying because you're scared or confused or... I wish I was lying, she said, her voice cracking. I wish he hadn't involved me at all. But he told me he was leaving you, Emily. He promised me. He said he was just waiting for the right moment. My legs nearly buckled. Jacob? Leaving me? Telling another woman he'd do it? I shook my head again, refusing to accept it. Why would he bring me here then? Why a couple's trip? That's exactly why I wrote the note, Chloe said. Because this trip, it wasn't about fixing anything. He's trying to keep you calm. Distracted. Controlled. The word hit hard. Tell me everything, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Chloe hugged her arms around herself. I met Jacob at a conference last year. At first he told me he was separated. Then he said you were complicated, that you wouldn't let him leave. He said he was unhappy, that you were distant and cold, that he was trapped. My stomach twisted painfully. He told you I was cold? I whispered. Me? That was almost laughable. I was the one who tried. I was the one who planned date nights, started conversations, begged for closeness while he shut down. Chloe nodded, ashamed. I believed him. I fell for him. I thought he was this gentle, misunderstood man who needed someone to care about him. Her voice cracked. Then last month I found messages he sent to another woman. I confronted him, and he lost it. He told me to stay out of his business, that he could do whatever he wanted. My breath caught. Another woman? I asked. She nodded slowly. That's when I realized, Chloe said. Jacob doesn't love either of us. He just uses people, manipulates them. He keeps each woman in a different box so they never cross paths. Until now, my entire body felt like it was shutting down. The walls in the room felt too close, the air too thin. Jacob, my husband, a man living not just a double life but a triple one? And the key card? I whispered. How did it end up in the bag? I put it there when he wasn't looking, she said. I saw him at the cafe. He didn't know I was still at the resort. I knew it was the only chance to warn you. I stared at her, trying to process, trying to make sense of a world that wasn't making sense anymore. Then Chloe's voice dropped to a whisper. Emily, he's dangerous. I stiffened. Dangerous how? She swallowed hard. When I confronted him about the other woman, he grabbed me. Not hard enough to bruise, but hard enough that I knew he could if he wanted to. And the way he spoke, like he wasn't even himself, like he was someone else entirely. Someone cold. Someone who didn't care what happened to me. A chill ran through me. He told me, she continued, that if I ever tried to ruin things for him, I'd regret it. Fear clawed its way up my throat. Jacob. Threatening someone? Hurting someone? The man I married would never. But then again, maybe the man I thought I married didn't exist. Before I could respond, a sudden knock echoed through the hallway. Chloe's eyes widened with terror. He's here, she whispered. My entire body went rigid. The knock came again. Harder this time. Emily, Jacob's voice. Calm. Too calm. I know you're in there. Open the door. My heartbeat thundered inside my ears. Chloe shook her head violently. Don't let him in. Please, Emily. You don't know what he's capable of. But then, my phone buzzed. I looked down. A message from Jacob. If you don't open this door, I swear you're going to regret it. My breath caught in my throat. Because that tone, I recognized it. I had heard that icy, controlled voice once before. The night he smashed a glass in the kitchen because dinner was late. Another knock. This one loud enough to rattle the doorframe. Emily, Jacob called, voice lower now. Open the door. Now. Chloe grabbed my arm. You need to decide, she whispered. Right now. My hand shook as I reached toward the doorknob. Between the truth, the lies, the fear, the betrayal. One thing became painfully clear. Nothing about this trip was meant to fix our marriage. Jacob didn't bring me here to save us. He brought me here to control the outcome. And I had no idea what he planned to do next. When I finally pulled the door open, the look on Jacob's face told me I wasn't getting out of that room unless I played by his rules. Betrayal revealed. When I pulled the door open, Jacob stood there with a smile so controlled, so forced. It made my stomach twist. He didn't look surprised to see me. He didn't look confused or concerned or even angry. He looked prepared. Emily, he said softly, like he was soothing a child. Come on, let's talk. I didn't move. Instinct told me stepping past that doorway was a mistake I wouldn't come back from. Behind me, Chloe stayed frozen on the edge of the bed. I could feel her fear pulsing in the room like electricity. Jacob's eyes flicked toward her, just for a second. And that was all I needed to confirm everything she told me. The warmth drained from his expression. Of course, he muttered. She got to you first. I swallowed. Jacob. What is going on? Who is she? Why did she say? He raised a hand, stopping me. You're my wife. You know me. You're smarter than this. Do you really think I'd bring you on a romantic trip if I was hiding something this big? His voice was calm, too rehearsed. I'd heard this tone before. Every time he lied about working late. Every time he dismissed my concerns. Every time he made me doubt myself. Gaslighting wrapped in tenderness. I lowered my voice. Jacob, she said you've been with her for a year. His jaw tightened before he forced a laugh. A year? Emily, please. Look at her. She's clearly unstable. Chloe stood up suddenly. Don't you dare make me out to be the crazy one. You lied to me. You lied to both of us. Jacob didn't even acknowledge her. Come on, let's go back to our cabin. We'll get you away from whatever this is. He reached for my wrist. I stepped back. His fingers paused in midair, and the mask slipped for half a second. His eyes hardened, sharp and dangerous. Emily, he said under his breath. Don't make this difficult. My pulse hammered. Jacob, just tell me the truth. Were you seeing her or not? He exhaled slowly through his nose, closing his eyes as if collecting patience he didn't actually have. Fine, he said. You want the truth? The truth is she's obsessed with me. She's been stalking me for months. I told her to leave me alone, but she keeps showing up everywhere. Chloe let out a bitter laugh. You told me you loved me. Jacob's voice snapped like a whip. Enough. The word hit the room like a blow. Chloe flinched. I stiffened. He stepped inside the doorway, blocking the exit. Emily, he said, lowering his voice again. I'm doing my best to keep things calm. We're on vacation. We came here to fix us. Don't let her ruin that. I looked at him. Really looked at him. The man standing in front of me wasn't the husband I knew. He was someone colder. Someone who shifted emotions like masks. And then he made his fatal mistake. Just give me the note, he said quietly. I'll take care of it. I froze. I never told you about the note, I whispered. His stomach dropped. He knew it. I knew it. Chloe knew it. The last trace of his fake calm dissolved. He stepped inside the room fully now, shutting the door behind him with a hard click. Emily, he said, give me the note. Chloe shouted, don't. He turned on her so fast I actually gasped. Stay out of this, he growled. You've done enough. I backed away until my legs hit the edge of the bed. Jacob, I said carefully, why do you want the note? He didn't answer. Instead, he took another step toward me. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. He wasn't trying to fix our marriage. He wasn't trying to explain anything. He wasn't even trying to deny the truth anymore. Jacob was trying to control the situation, to keep me from knowing something. Something Chloe hadn't told me yet. Emily, he said firmly, hand it over. I shook my head. No. His jaw clenched so tightly his teeth might have cracked. Don't push me right now. Chloe grabbed my hand. Emily, let's go. Now. Jacob stepped between us and the door. She's not going anywhere. The room vibrated with tension. I could feel Chloe trembling beside me. Honey, Jacob said, forcing another smile. I love you. I want what's best for you. You're upset, and you're making decisions you'll regret. Just give me the note, and we'll leave. Together. That's not love, I whispered. That's control. His smile disappeared. In one sudden, terrifying second, the mask dropped entirely. You're not leaving this room, he said quietly, until you give me what I want. I felt Chloe squeeze my hand so hard it hurt. Emily, she whispered, there's something I didn't tell you yet. Jacob's head snapped toward her. Don't. Chloe's voice shook. I wasn't the only one he was seeing. My heart stopped. Jacob's face drained of color. Chloe, shut up. I found photos, she said, her voice rising. Photos of you with another woman. Someone else. Someone you've been with for years. Years. Photos. My mind spun. Jacob lunged toward her, but I stepped between them before I could think. Is it true? I shouted at him. His breathing turned rough. Move, Emily. Now. Is it true? I repeated. His silence. That silence said everything. My chest tightened like a fist was squeezing my heart. How many, Jacob? I whispered. How many women have you lied to? How many lives have you played with? He took a step toward me. I took a step back. Emily, he said, you're my wife. That means you stand with me, not against me. His voice wasn't loving. It wasn't pleading. It was a command. And that was when I realized Jacob didn't see me as a partner or a person. He saw me as property, an extension of his perfect little image. Chloe stepped forward, voice cracking. Tell her the truth, Jacob. Tell her what you told me last week. Jacob turned on her, eyes blazing. Chloe, I swear to God. She said it anyway. You told me, she cried, that Emily wasn't supposed to find out anything until after the divorce papers were filed. My knees went weak. Divorce? He was divorcing me, without even telling me? Jacob's expression twisted into pure fury. You think I won't end this? He snapped. Both of you need to stop talking. That was the moment I finally understood. He didn't fear losing me. He feared losing control. Chloe grabbed my hand again. We need to run. Now. Jacob reached for me, voice sharp and furious, but a loud knock suddenly hit the door from the hallway. All three of us froze. And then a man's voice called out. Maintenance. Ma'am, we received a report of yelling. Everything okay in there? Jacob's face went white with rage. Cliffhanger. Jacob stepped toward the door and whispered something that made my blood run cold. If you open that door, Emily, I promise you'll regret it more than anything in your life. Turning point. Jacob's threat hung in the air like poison, thick, suffocating, impossible to ignore. If you open that door, Emily, I promise you'll regret it more than anything in your life. My entire body went rigid. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't even trying to hide the monster he'd been carefully concealing for years. He said it calmly, quietly, with certainty, and that terrified me more than anything else. Another knock hit the door, firmer this time. Ma'am? The maintenance worker called again. We have to ensure everything is safe. Jacob's eyes locked onto mine, daring me to move, daring me to speak. He stood inches from the door, his body tense, muscles coiled like a predator ready to pounce. Behind me, Chloe's breathing grew fast and shaky. Emily, she whispered, don't let him scare you. This is your chance. My heart hammered so loudly I could barely hear anything else. I had two choices: stay quiet and stay trapped, or open the door and risk whatever Jacob meant by regret. But for the first time in years, something rose inside me. Something stronger than fear, anger, betrayal, a kind of clarity I'd never felt before. Jacob turned his back to me and spoke through his teeth. We're fine. Just a misunderstanding. The maintenance worker sounded unconvinced. Sir, resort policy requires. We said we're fine. Jacob snapped. That was it. That tone. That authority. That entitlement. The man who thought he could control the narrative, control people, control me. I felt something snap inside me. I stepped around him. Before Jacob could block me, before he could grab my wrist or slam the door shut, I swung it open. The maintenance worker, an older man with kind eyes, looked from me to Jacob, immediately sensing something was wrong. Ma'am, he said gently, are you safe here? Jacob grabbed my arm hard. Tell him yes. The pressure of his fingers dug into my skin. Pain shot up my wrist. The maintenance man's eyes widened. That was when I made my choice. No, I said. My voice trembled, but the word was clear. I'm not safe. Everything happened fast. Jacob lunged at me, fury exploding across his face. You stupid. The maintenance worker grabbed Jacob's shoulder. Sir, step back. Chloe screamed. I stumbled behind the maintenance worker as Jacob shoved forward, shaking with rage. Emily, he snarled. You don't walk away from me. You hear me? You don't. Security's already on the way, the maintenance worker said, pulling out a radio. Back away now. Jacob froze. His chest heaved. His fists clenched. He looked at me with so much hatred it chilled my blood. You think you're winning? He asked softly. You think you're safe because you opened a door? I didn't answer. He took a step back, slowly, calculatingly. His eyes flicked to Chloe. And you, he hissed, you'll regret opening your mouth. Chloe flinched but didn't look away. I'm done being scared of you. Jacob let out a low laugh, dark and deadly. Then he walked out of the room calmly, like he hadn't just threatened two women in the span of 3 minutes. Security arrived moments later. The maintenance worker quickly explained what happened. They called the resort manager, who insisted we move to another secured cabin while they handled the situation with Jacob. But I knew Jacob. They didn't. He wouldn't just walk away. He wouldn't give up control. He would regroup, re-strategize, come back smarter. Chloe sat on the edge of the bed, shaking violently. Emily, I'm so sorry. I sat beside her. Don't be. You saved me. No, she said. I didn't tell you everything yet. My stomach clenched. What do you mean? She wiped her eyes. I told you he had someone else. Another woman. Someone he's been involved with for years. Yes. She swallowed hard. He wasn't just cheating. My breath hitched. What are you talking about? He was. Supporting her, paying her rent, helping her with money, helping her raise her kids, acting like some kind of second husband. My entire world tilted. Supporting another woman? Financially? Secretly? For years? Chloe nodded. I confronted him about it. That's when he snapped. He said she needed him more than we did. He said he had responsibilities with her, and that he didn't owe us anything. My hands started shaking. Her kids. Were they his? Chloe squeezed her eyes shut. I'm not sure, but I think he's been living a double life for much longer than either of us realized. I felt sick. How many nights had he been working late? How many weekends had he visited his brother? How many arguments had he manipulated me into believing were my fault? He wasn't just a liar. He was a seasoned one. The resort security escorted us to a locked guest suite on the other side of the property. As we walked, Chloe leaned close. There's something else you need to know. I turned to her slowly. Chloe, what else could there be? She looked at me with a mixture of fear and sympathy. The woman he's been supporting? The one he's been with longest? Yes. She thinks he and you are already divorced. My heart stopped. She told me, Chloe whispered, that Jacob said you agreed to stay legally married just to help him with taxes, and that you were just roommates now. I stumbled, nearly losing my balance. He'd erased me, reduced me to nothing, turned our entire marriage into a lie to justify his own betrayal. He told her, Chloe continued, that you two haven't shared a real marriage in years. I felt heat rise in my face, anger, humiliation, heartbreak colliding all at once. But that's not even the worst part. My lips parted. What could be worse than that? Chloe looked at me, her eyes full of dread. Jacob told her, she whispered, that you knew about their relationship and that you approved. My knees buckled. I grabbed the wall to steady myself. Approved. He told her I approved of his affair. He made me the villain in his twisted story. He used you, Chloe said softly. Your kindness, your loyalty, your silence. He shaped you into a character that fit his lies. Tears finally spilled from my eyes. I didn't know, I whispered. I didn't know any of this. Chloe nodded. I know. But he's not done, Emily. He's going to come after us. He always comes back for what he thinks he owns. Before I could respond, the resort manager rushed in. Ma'am, she said, breathless. You both need to come with me right now. Why? I asked. She swallowed hard. Because your husband. He left the resort. My blood ran cold. Left? Where? Why? And, the manager added, voice trembling slightly, he took something with him. What did he take? I asked. She hesitated. Your car. I felt everything inside me collapse. Jacob wasn't running away. He was planning something. Cliffhanger. The manager handed me a radio, her voice barely holding steady as she said, your husband just called the front desk. He said he's coming back for you. I've replayed the next few moments in my head 1,000 times, wondering if I could have done anything differently. Wondering if I should have been more afraid, more cautious, more prepared. But the truth is, when someone you love reveals the monster behind their mask, nothing prepares you. After the maintenance man left and Jacob stormed off down the hallway, Chloe and I pushed the dresser against the door and stayed silent for nearly an hour. We didn't speak. We barely breathed. We just waited, listening for footsteps, for movement, for anything that could tell us he was still there. But Jacob didn't return. The resort was quiet. Too quiet. Finally, Chloe turned to me, eyes swollen from crying. We need help, she whispered. I nodded. Let's go to the front desk. Someone must have heard something. But when we stepped into the hallway, a sickening realization hit us. Jacob had taken my phone. Chloe's phone was smashed. She showed me the shattered screen with shaking hands. There was no landline in the room. We were cut off. I tried to stay calm. We'll go together. We move fast, and we don't stop. We made it to the elevator, and as the doors slid open, I felt a painful rush of hope, until I saw what was lying on the elevator floor. My purse, my phone, and a note. A single sheet of paper with Jacob's handwriting. Go ahead. Run. It won't change anything. My body went cold. Chloe grabbed my arm. Emily, we have to go. Now. We didn't take the elevator. We sprinted down the stairs, heartbeats pounding in sync, footsteps echoing. Every shadow in the stairwell felt like Jacob was hiding inside it. When we finally reached the lobby, the front desk manager, a young man named Ethan, looked up with confusion. Are you two okay? No, I gasped. My husband, he's dangerous. We need help, please. Ethan's eyes widened. Before he could respond, the automatic glass door slid open behind us, and Jacob walked in. He was calm. Too calm. His eyes scanned the lobby and locked onto mine with predatory focus. Emily, he said smoothly like nothing was wrong. Let's go. Ethan stepped between us. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to stay back. Jacob smiled. Of course. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to talk to my wife. The way he said wife made my skin crawl. She's not going anywhere with you. Chloe snapped, stepping slightly in front of me. Jacob's eyes flicked to her. Cold. Dead. Calculating. Chloe, he said softly. You never knew when to stop. Security was on the way. I could hear the radio crackling behind the desk as Ethan spoke into it. But Jacob didn't look scared. He didn't look worried. He looked prepared. Emily, he said again. Everything Chloe told you? It's exaggerated. She's unstable. Emotional. You know how she gets. I don't know anything anymore. I shot back. Not about you. He sighed, like I was the problem. Fine. If you won't come with me willingly then. He lunged. Not at me. At Chloe. She screamed as he grabbed her wrist, squeezing so hard her knees buckled. I shoved him, but he didn't budge. His focus was entirely on Chloe, like she was the real threat, like she was the one thing he needed to silence. "Let go of her," I yelled. Ethan jumped over the counter to intervene just as two security guards rushed in. Jacob snapped out of his frenzy long enough to realize he was outnumbered. He released Chloe and raised his hands in mock surrender. Everyone calmed down. I didn't touch her. She slipped. Lies. Effortless, smooth lies. But this time, people were watching. Cameras were rolling, and Chloe, crying and shaking, had bruises already blooming on her wrist. Security separated us. They called the police. Jacob tried everything: denials, manipulation, charm, threats whispered just out of earshot. But I didn't flinch. Not anymore. When the officers arrived, Jacob was finally pulled aside. One of them asked me, "Ma'am, do you feel safe around your husband?" My answer came out without hesitation. No. I'm terrified of him. That was enough. Jacob was escorted out of the resort in handcuffs, not for physical assault, but for harassment, intimidation, and violating multiple restraining order warnings Chloe had apparently filed months ago. But she never followed through out of fear. He counted on that. As they put him in the patrol car, he looked back at me, eyes cold, voice low through the rolled down window. "This isn't over, Emily." For the first time, I believed him, but I wasn't alone. 3 weeks later, the investigation moved fast, faster than I expected, and the truth unspooled like a nightmare unraveling in daylight. Jacob had been seeing not one, not two, but 4 different women over the past 3 years. 2 believed he was single. 1 believed he was divorced. 1, Chloe, believed he was preparing to leave me. Bank records showed hidden accounts, gifts, trips, money transfers to names I didn't recognize. And then came the darkest discovery. He had scheduled a new life insurance policy on me, effective in 3 months. Payout, 7 figures. My hands shook when the detective handed me the paperwork. "Ma'am," he said gently, "in our professional opinion, your husband didn't bring you to the mountains to fix your marriage. He didn't need to say the rest." I understood. Jacob didn't plan to divorce me. He planned to outlive me. Chloe and I attended every court hearing together. She apologized for everything, things that weren't even her fault. I told her the same. We were both victims of the same man. A man who hid behind charm and routine and smiles. A man who used love as a weapon. Jacob was sentenced. Not for attempted murder. The evidence wasn't enough for that. But for fraud, harassment, unlawful surveillance, and multiple violations linked to his relationships. Years. He got years. Enough for me to finally breathe again. 6 months later, I moved into a small apartment by the coast. A place where the wind feels clean and the horizon feels like freedom. Where there's no trace of Jacob's shadow. Chloe and I talk often. Trauma binds people. It's strange, but it's true. She's rebuilding her life too, piece by piece. One evening, while watching the sunset from my balcony, she texted me, "I'm proud of you, Emily. You got out." We both did. I stared at that message for a long time. Because she was right. Jacob tried to hide his double life. He tried to control every thread of the story. He tried to make me doubt myself, fear him, obey him. But in the end, the truth didn't break me. It set me free. And sometimes, freedom begins with a single note from a stranger. A warning. A plea. A lifeline. "You don't know me, but you need to leave." Those words saved my life. And now, I finally understand their meaning. Because I may have lost my marriage, but I found myself.